what is the domain of the function f of x equals the square root of x minus 5? Now remember, the domain of the function represents all values of x that will give us an answer, right? So you may have seen this little diagram before, something like this, right? But what goes in are all the values in the domain. Okay? But remember, the key is whatever f of x is, right? Something has to be able to come out of that, okay? And that'll be called the range, okay? Now in this case, because it's a radical function, right? Remember, we cannot evaluate a negative radical, right? We don't get a real number, right? We're dealing with, whenever we talk about functions, we're talking about real valued functions, okay? So what do we mean by that? For example, let's say, if I ask you, what is f of 0, right? Well, if we plug in 0 into the function, we get radical 0 minus 5, which is the square root of negative 5. But wait a minute, that does not exist. So what does that mean? It means that if we try to evaluate this at 0, right, this function essentially breaks down, right? We can't get an answer. So 0 is not in the domain. Okay? So the key here with radicals is, let's find where the radical equals 0. So for example, I can take a quick look here and notice, okay, well, I know that f of 5, right? If I plug in the 5 in here, I'm going to get radical 0, which is just 0. So what does that mean? It means that 5 is in my domain, right? But if you think about it, okay, well, wait a minute. Any number bigger than 5 then will also be in the domain. Okay? So the 0, right? Getting a square root of 0, that's sort of the cutoff point. So how can we give the answer? Now remember, we should always give the answer in interval notation, right? So we can say in words, right? We can say all values of x, right? All values of x greater than, right? Or equal to, because in this case we could equal 5, right? So all values of x greater than or equal to 5. Okay? Now on the number line, right? We can do this on the number line also, right? That's just going to be something like this, right? It's going to be a closed circle, and we're going to go this way. So in interval notation, then it'll be brackets 5, comma infinity. Okay, so this is the, for all intents and purposes, right? We always give the answer in interval notation. So this means that any number greater than 5, but also including 5, is going to be in this domain.